G'day everybody and welcome to another full-scale Fishing Adventures episode. Doing something slightly different this episode. I get a stack of questions on the channel about my boat, so I thought it would be a good time to run you through my boat and how I like to set it up for the different styles of fishing that I do. I'm so lucky to be able to do such varied fishing, but with that I need a boat that can do a lot of different things, and I've actually found this boat has been amazing for all the different styles of fishing that I do, but I like to change it up a little bit with the flooring and just the outlay of the boat. So I thought, good opportunity, I'll run you through in depth each style of this particular boat that I like to use and what I like to use it for, and also how I set it up. So firstly, the boat is a Quintrex Renegade 420. The sizing's a little bit different because it doesn't actually measure 420. It's about 4.3, maybe a little bit over 4.3. The width is about 2.1 from side to side, and also the depth is a bit over 500 up to the side of the boat. I've just got the standard aluminium Quintrex trailer, and I wasn't sure about that trailer to start with, but as a friend of mine said, you're better off having a bit of flex in your trailer rather than having a really sturdy trailer, which can often affect your boat. You know, if anything's going to rub through, it's going to be on your boat rather than your trailer. So I've had that trailer for 5 years now. I've had the boat for 5 years. It hasn't missed a beat. I've been all over the southern states, Queensland, WA a few times, and it's been really good so far. So you can highly recommend the boat and the trailer. The outboard is a 50 horsepower Mercury tiller steer, which I've had for a number of years now. I had it on my old boat and then swapped it over to this boat, and the powering's really good. I think a 50 is perfect for the 420 Renegade. It goes plenty fast enough. It's always nice to go faster, but in the conditions that I'm fishing in, you know, there might be times on the river where I would like to be able to go faster, but generally, like if I'm out in the sea, unless it's a perfect day, 50 is more than enough. And even when I load it all up with camping gear and that sort of stuff, when I do those trips, the 50 seems to be all right. So this is the flooring setup that I've got for blue water fishing. For anyone that's got a Renegade, up the front here was an anchor well, so I've pulled that plastic tub out, and then I run a piece of 12mm ply, marine ply, cut to shape for the front casting deck. Now I've got two of these styles of deck, but it'll all make sense in a bit, because one, like this one, is slightly longer, and that's great for just flats fishing or out in the blue water, but then the other one sort of doubles up because it works in with my camping floor, but then also you can have the boat exactly like it was when it came out of the shop, which I think is important too. So this floor is kind of cool. It actually worked out really well because a bit of extra standing room up the front. It's got a space for the electric there. This is what is called a monkey bar, and that was an idea given to me by Scott Gray. So it's just a aluminium pole that fits in the seat holes. So the idea of this one is that you can be up the front spotting fish or looking back at the teasers when you're blue water fishing for marlin, but it also gives you the ability, if someone's fishing with you, you can sit it in whatever seat hole. So this is basically just like a motorbike handlebars for when you're cruising through a bit of sloppy stuff, and yeah, if you're casting or you're cruising along looking for fish, you can have it up the front and lean against it, and then you won't fall out the boat. Worked out well with this casting deck because under here is a lot of dry storage. So we actually found that was really good for putting like bags, things that you want to get to, but need a little bit of protection from the water. This is just braced with some aluminium square, and then it's backed up with a bit of aluminium angle, so there's no flex in the middle, but it's basically just screwed on in the alloy plate up the front, but then this bit is just strengthened by the edge of the boat, and then we've got that aluminium plate square and angle there underneath just to stop it from flexing. And then we've lost the use of this front hatch, but the way that it worked out, it didn't really matter because that's where the batteries are, which has got all the storage underneath. That's where I had batteries and all sorts of other gear. In the side here, I got rid of the hinges, so I don't have hinges on there anymore. Just a simple Velcro strip sticks to this bit of the carpet, and they don't move around once they're stuck there. It works really well. In here, this side I've made into an anchor well. Side is just for storage. I've got USB ports there for charging stuff. This is my active target module, and then I've also got more USB ports up the front there. So that's that side of it. So coming down the back here, this side has got fuel tank, just like the standard. That's just how it came. I've got my marine radio under here. The original switch panel that it came with from the Quintrex factory was absolutely garbage. So I built up this one, which is a waterproof box, and just a set of switches, so nav lights, deck lights, which are up underneath here, accessories, which does all my USB ports, and the radio, bilge pump, bait tank pump, and then also the fish finder. So that's all my switches. This other side was actually where the bait tank was, but I pulled all of that stuff out. It had some cross beams here. I chopped all of that stuff out, and then made this big storage space, which is perfect for the second fuel tank. I think that's a lot better use of the space for me with the second fuel tank. Also have the ability to remove that fuel tank when I do like a big camping cod mission, and I want extra storage. That's really good if I know that I'm not going to go through heaps of fuel. I can actually use that as a second storage area. But it's been working really well as the second fuel tank. The sounder that I run for blue water fishing is the HDS Live Pro. This is a 12-inch one, and it's interesting how far sounders have come. I obviously talk about the live sonar setup and how I do all of that, but when I'm blue water fishing, just the ability to have charts, and then just the standard sonar, so you can just see bait or fish on the bottom. Just that old school sounder setup is so invaluable to be able to know, you know, where you had bites, where the different meter lines are, particularly when you're marlin fishing. You need to know where the 50 meter, the 70 meter line is. So just a basic chart and the sonar is really invaluable, and the HDS Pro was awesome. It's been awesome. So, all right, so this is the front section, which had the anchor well in there. So I've just taken that section of floor out, which is what just screwed into this bit of aluminium here. So this is probably the only bit of the boat that gets extra holes in it with the flooring setup, just because I had to put a few extra screw holes in there. And then I've also got the holes for my front sounder active target setup when I'm using it for the river fishing. I got a friend of mine to make this for me. It's basically, it's just a fabricated bracket that runs through the tube, which fits the 50mm seat hole aluminium tube. So this is slightly bigger than 50mm to fit the seat tube or the monkey bar, and then that's just an additional bit of support so it doesn't get any flex up. That is bolted through the back there, and that's great because I can either use that for the T-bar or the monkey bar as I showed you, but also if I want to do any lock style fly fishing, I can actually run one of the seats off of that bit as well. Alright, so this is the boat back into its normal state. So this is just how I got it from Quintrex, the floor setup. So front's all back to normal, access to this hatch, and then this is the piece of floor that I use to cover the anchor well most of the time. I've got my Transducer Poles Australia removable pole bracket, and also the plug for the socket for the transducer cable. As it is now is what I like to use, say if I'm going flatty fishing, going chasing kings, any sort of inshore stuff where I don't need the really big casting deck, and then I want the ability, usually it's seasonal for me, like I want the ability to be able to move from this style of open boat to then the camping setup, which we'll put in next. This way, when it's like this, it's 6 bolts and then some screws to change the whole thing over. So this is my big camping floor. So it comes in 5 pieces, but this is one whole piece with the big doors ready to go. This is the front, and this is the back. It took me a long time to work out exactly what was going to be the right setup for this. This is the front, so that's the big front hatch. That's the front section of the boat, which attaches onto that end, and then these are the 2 big door panels. So I've just got the frame there, taken these sections out, because that way when you've got the floor in from on top, you can get into all this stuff. Alright, so that's the floor in. So to attach it, there is one bolt hole here, another one there, and then the 2 that I mentioned before, which are into the boat. But the way that I came up with, I stared at it for a fairly long time, and I realized with Renegades you've got the 2 seat holes at the back, and then I've just got the one in the middle, because there was a little bit of flex, not too bad. All right, so floor's in. This is the dedicated cod fishing setup mainly, but can use it for all different sorts of things. Like, it was awesome chasing barras, use it for fishing up creeks for brims and all that sort of stuff. But so we got the big floor in. I'll show you a little bit more about that in a minute. Up the back, I'm running an Elite 9, which is good for just side scanning and basic mapping, getting in and out of places in the dark. I'll just jump up the front. So up the front, running one of the Ultra Free Mount Transducer Poles Australia poles. This has got one of the Dominator mounts, so that's that clickable mount. That's super easy to change from scout mode to forward mode. Carbon fiber pole, which is just so nice because it cuts through the water. I run my HDS Pro, that's the 12 up the front. I've been running 2 different electric motors. So this one is a old Riptide, but I get them serviced by Troy from Min Repairs, and he does a really good job because he makes them new again, and I am very hard on my electric motors. So I actually run 2. I run the Riptide, and then I've got a Tear Rover in the shed as well, and depending on which one's in better nick will be which one's on the front of the boat. Yeah, so all that's removable just with the, you undo that and that will pull off, and the same, you can undo the transducer cable with the socket. So super quick, super simple. And then got the big beautiful deck. I've just got some Velcro straps which I found lying around. That's perfect for sitting your rods on either side. So plenty of storage underneath the big floor. So the whole idea with the boat floor is that I wanted to be able to camp wherever. So as it works out, you can even go a little bit further up. But I worked it out that this tent, which I put my swag into, fits on the front of the boat floor. So one important thing probably to run through is battery power, because it's such an important part of the fishing that I like to do, particularly going cod fishing. So I run one main motor battery down there. So that's a 100 amp hour AGM or cranking battery. I don't think it's an AGM, but it's a liquid battery, lead one, and that does the motor starting, does my accessories and charging, and all my nav lights and stuff like that. And I find that's a good way to do it, because the motor sorts that battery out. It's enough to charge all the battery, like camera batteries and all that sort of stuff while I'm out fishing. But as far as the active target goes and anything up the front, I run lithiums for all of that. And just like my boat, I like to be able to have all this separate. So the motor battery is one thing that sorts itself out, and then the batteries for the active target and the electric motor are these 6 here, which can be mixed and matched depending on what I want to do. So these ones in particular, these blue ones, they're a Vision one. These are the best batteries that I've ever used. They're called a Vision, whatever that is, SP12, all 100 amp hour. But if I'm doing a long range cod trip, I'll take the 6, and if I'm not using active target, I'll just have 6 dedicated batteries for my electric motor. I haven't really gone to 24 volt batteries, simply because if I have one of these play up, it still means that I can use the other one in another set. So yeah, so my electric motor is 24 volt, but by having the 2, you know, if one stuff's up, I can grab one from another set. When I'm generally fishing, doing day trips, or maybe a couple of days trip, and I'm using the active target, I'll keep 2 batteries. Usually these are my electric motor ones, because I know these are going to last the longest, even though they're all 100 amp hour. But then I'll have 2, so I've got a spare for the active target, so I just run it on 100 amp hour 12 volt lithium. I did see a video the other day about running your sounder on 24 volt when you're using your forward facing sonar, which seems to get a better picture. So I'm going to try that, but just at the moment that's what I've been doing. So very important that it's all removable. I can pull them in out of the boat as I want, and then also these double as the batteries that I use in my little punt, which I think I will do a run through video, because I've had quite a few questions about the floor and that sort of stuff. It's quite neat, but I think that'll be another video. So I reckon that's the run through of the boat. I think I've pretty much covered everything. It is an epic setup. I just love that I can take it up the river, do like all the Lower Murray, do all the fast water stuff. It's just big enough that I can push it off a sandbar, just if the river drops or something different happens. The same if I'm going camping out on the islands, fly fishing, you know, working with the tides and all that sort of stuff. This size boat for me is just manageable. I'd always like a bigger boat, I always like a smaller boat, but this seems to be a good all-rounder for everything that I like to do. Taking it out marlin fishing, we've done that 3 or 4 times now, and it's great for those good weather days. You can go out and catch marlin and sails in it. Great for the cods, great for the coast. So yeah, if you have any extra questions, maybe something I didn't cover, maybe something I didn't cover enough, leave a comment in the comment section and hopefully I'll see it and I will be able to answer it. But yeah, that's the walkthrough of my boat. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all on the next one.